Ah, that Washington, D.C. establishing shot. My name is David. I'm with Evie
Hello.
and Nicole. We
Sup?
are the Wormhole Extremists, and this is Inauguration.
It's
So I
funny.
didn't know what the word inauguration meant until I watched this episode.
Oh, well, there you go. Look at you learning stuff
There
again.
you go.
learned
She was a
stuff.
baby. And
Yeah.
this is
Baby.
Clip Show episode 4, if you include Out of Mind.
Right. Okay, I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
So we are introduced to William Devane as President Henry Hayes. So this is his first of 3 SG1 appearances, and he'll later return for Lost City and later for Continuum.
That's right.
Also, a bit of background. So he's actually an award-winning soap opera actor. But he actually has some real political connections, which I found kind of interesting. So his father was actually FDR's chauffeur when he was
Wow.
governor of New York. And
Wow.
in addition, William himself actually portrayed President Kennedy in the 1974 TV docudrama The Missiles of October, which is kind of cool that he sort of hovered
That
around the
little
bust.
reflection. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Kennedy.
don't know whether that was intentional or not, but it was kind of cool.
I
This-
love
And
that
the
he did that. It was cool. It was
year
funny.
after this episode aired, he actually guest starred on The West Wing as the Secretary of State. And then the following year, he joined 24 as the Secretary of Defense, 3 seasons. And then he plays the president again in The Dark Knight Rises.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
he's kind of cornered the market on high-level government roles. And I think now he's about 86 years of age, and
Yep.
he currently lives on a ranch.
Oh, so
and
he's
he
currently the
breeds
right age to be
horses.
president of the United States. Cool, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And doing
And-
ads for Colonial Penn.
Exactly. And that was Jerry Wasserman, who plays Stan, the Chief of Staff. So he previously appeared in Touchstone as
Yep.
Bernie Whitlow, Hammond's contact.
Yes.
I love... It's Maynard, right? Is that his name?
Yes.
I
Yes,
love this
Maynard.
character.
Me too.
Yes, James McDaniel. So he previously played the chairman of the Joint Chiefs in the 2002 Spielberg miniseries Taken, which is kind of cool.
Ah, okay. Here we go.
This is his own episode, though, I believe.
I will say that
And
the,
so-
the guy who plays Henry Hayes. He's doing an amazing job. He's
Yeah.
got such a good charisma. I can see this guy being president.
He just
You know?
dropped
me
a
too.
bomb on him, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really good.
yeah. So the whole taking your shoes off thing, apparently, according to the DVD commentary, William, that was his personal preference.
Yeah.
He wanted to take his shoes off.
This is his office.
So they filmed the scenes without him wearing shoes, which I think really works, and it shows him kind of settling into this, presidential role.
That's
which
right.
is kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Do you have any background on this set?
I do. So the White House interior set is the same one used in X-Men 2.
Yes, I
That's
knew it. I was
correct.
going to say that. Yes,
So,
I love
and
X-Men too.
apparently it's quite authentic. So according to Peter Dalloway's on the DVD commentary, General Jumper said
Yes.
that the set of the White House was so close to the real thing, and he had visited it
Of
like
course.
numerous times himself.
Yep.
So
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
he knew what he was talking. He was knew
Or
what he
Chief
was
of
talking
Staff,
about.
rather. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Yeah.
And what else was I going to say? Yeah, I was going through Reddit just for some opinions, and quite a few fans pointed out that Stargate clip shows are kind of teachable examples of what the format can and should be. One fan actually put it that they figured out the best way to use clip shows was to make them briefings for people coming into the know about the classified program.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. It works really well. I really
Yeah,
enjoy it.
because they're like
That's
mission
how they always
reports.
use it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what we're supposedly seeing is Hayes's first day in the office.
Yes.
But there's kind of an interesting continuity issue. So Woolsey later mentions that Heroes Part 2 happened less than a month ago. But during that episode, Kinsey was still referencing Hayes as his running mate.
Sure was.
So given that the presidential inaugurations happen
January.
on January 20th and the elections are in November, there
Yeah.
should be at least a 2.5 month gap between the events.
That's right.
So,
Well, this wasn't an election year when this came out, so who knows what else is different.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and by the way, President Hayes wasn't a president. So
Yeah.
Yes.
so you gotta
That's
you
true.
gotta fudge the continuity a little bit. But this was one of
Oh,
those where it's like,
I wouldn't
you
have
know,
noticed if I didn't research it.
outside, it should not be green. Outside, it should be dead. So, you're looking through these windows here, but yeah. And this is the first time we're getting Robert Kinsey's first name.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So he's always been Senator Kinsey or Vice President Kinsey or whatever. So we're finally on a first name basis.
Yeah. About time. And
Oh,
can you
he's like,
imagine the running mate that you've thought that you picked or was recommended to you? Turns out that he was under a special executive gag order for this thing that you're being exposed to about other planets. You
yeah,
have to
true.
begin to start questioning, okay, what else has happened here that I don't know about, that I'm being presented with as the only option that is not true?
Yeah. Well, I think kind of in my mind, Hayes is kind of
He's a straight arrow.
yeah, he
Yeah.
is, and he kind of takes it in his stride to a certain extent. Like he's surprised, but he's not completely outraged.
Yeah.
Like with Kinsey's behavior, like he recognizes that Kinsey's probably been lying to him, probably isn't a great guy.
Well,
But
like the president, admits to in I think the next episode, he delivered Kinsey delivered Florida all by himself. So
Yeah.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
I love that he's how much of a meltdown he's having.
yeah.
I really love his attitude.
Yeah, he was like, well, this is just all bananas.
Exactly. He's reading it like it's a book. I'm kind of upset that Maynard didn't appear later on because he appears to know all of SG1's like missions,
Yeah.
and
He's
he's
clearly
such
a fan.
he's a fan, and he's like a massive supporter, but we don't see him after this.
Is he Army?
So I actually did write this down. I think he is because
he's green. His
he's
uniform's
got the
green.
1st Cavalry Division yellow
Yeah.
shoulder patch.
Yeah. I think we've got Army teams at the SGC. We've got I know that we've got Marine.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure that Lieutenant Ford was a Marine, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah.
Dan Ben says, my mum remembers William Devane from Knots Landing. She
Yeah.
said it was the first time
Yes.
the episode.
He was
Yeah.
on that for many, many,
My
many
folks
years.
knew him through that as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
He's really well cast.
Yeah, they did a great job picking a president. Here we
They
go.
did. Okay, so this is our first of many clips. So there are 17 different clips from 16 different episodes that total 7 minutes and 46 seconds of footage.
That's pretty
So-
short.
Yeah, it's not that much
It's
of a clip
pretty
show.
restrained. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of makes it unusual is that most clip shows show about 50% recycled footage, but the writers actually set out to create something that would stand alone with only 15 to 20% clips. So Joseph Malozzi admitted that he wasn't thrilled about writing another clip show initially, but they found a way to make it work by advancing the series arc significantly.
All right, so let me break this down here. So this is, I think, the second clip show episode, as we're referencing another clip show episode here.
Yes.
Where they have a complete unique space, and guest stars are largely carrying the show. How many? I mean, you're saving what, 1 day of principal photography by adding 7 minutes of footage? I would have loved an episode that was just confined to the Oval. And that's all we do. They really
Yes.
need to make it a clip show? Or now that we've got the Oval and we've got this cast, do the whole script as a bottle episode inside the White House. They've got the set. It's right there.
Well, they're basically
true.
doing that, but
Yeah.
they're doing, but they're clipping it, I guess, because maybe they're worried that people won't enjoy just the Oval Office.
I suppose that's true. I suppose they want to break it up a little bit, but be
Maybe.
brave and give it a shot.
I
Yeah.
actually really enjoy this episode. Being stuck in the Oval Office is actually really cool.
Well, the actors work.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you
And I
get
like
into
the
what they're going through.
perspective. Yeah, I really like the perspective of someone who's outside the program learning about it for the first time,
time.
and someone who actually has power.
Yeah.
There was actually some fans on Reddit that admitted it actually took them about 30 minutes to realize it was a clip show because like the political drama had them hooked.
Right.
Yeah.
And another person on Reddit said that the Stargate clip shows often throw in enough plot that you're scared to miss things if you skip it.
Yeah, and the clip shows largely have to do with, I mean, the only one that I can think of that's not as out of mind, have to do with the political, the evolving political machinations on Earth. Hey, here we go. Hatchet guy.
Yes. So this is, I think, technically, in terms of when the episodes were aired, this is Robert Picardo's first time appearing in the Oval Office for TV, but his second time was in The West Wing, which aired the same month as this episode.
Wow.
So it's obviously just a coincidence, but it's sort of a fun bit of trivia. I also forgot to mention just a few seconds ago, there was a small slip up where Maynard referred to Senator Kinsey instead of Vice President. But, you know, old habits die hard.
That's, it could be attributed to that for sure. Yeah. Someone fudged in the script. Come on, guys.
I love the way that Woolsey breaks this all down and brings up some of my favorite moments. Cough, cough, Salmon Jack, cough, cough.
Yes. Yes, I like it too. It's sort of it's woven into the episode in such a way that it really doesn't feel unnecessary for a clip show, if you know what I mean. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like they're just sort of trying to hit a target, you know, how many episode references can we squeeze in? It actually does service the story.
Yeah.
And I do really enjoy that.
I'm
And
sure.
to be fair, this is something that I feel like that they're always doing in the background, and so it's cool to actually see it because they're always criticizing the SGC for how, you know,
This
like
is true.
they let things go so easily.
I love how Maynard says, shouldn't George Hammond be included? And I know Kenzie's thinking, we don't want George Hammond included because we don't want any
No.
uninvited aliens stopping this in this time.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. So Hammond is actually the only regular cast member that
Yep.
shows up in this episode.
Just like the last one.
So everyone else with SG1 is going to be flashback material. And I think that kind of challenges the whole vibe from your typical Stargate adventure. And like also the other thing that's missing is the actual Stargate itself. So
Yeah.
unless you count the archival footage. So this makes the second episode in a row that pulled that trick. And I think apparently the Stargate itself, in my mind, sort of decided to take a bit of an extended time off before the
Right?
big season
Exactly.
finale.
Yeah, for sure.
2 weeks off.
Can you keep this in the back of your mind when you hear Woolsey's analysis going through? Nothing that he says is wrong.
No,
From a point
exactly.
of
No, it's
view,
not.
everything that he
That's what I love,
says
yeah.
is, unless he has something factually wrong coming up, which in terms of motivation, I don't think so. But
No.
he's spot on.
Yeah,
They
he's
have
100%
shown
right.
disregard for authority. They
Procedure.
compromised
Yep.
national security. Yep.
Gene Diata said maybe putting this clip show in the slot would have been for the new viewers that watch the summer reruns as ads for Stargate Atlantis when it started like airing.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. It's kind of cool that we got a little detail about Hammond. So he's a 30-year veteran of the Air Force, as mentioned previously.
Whom
And I
Hayes
think
knew.
Woolsey, yeah, they were kind of
That was a lot of hair ago.
friends, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60s. Had to have been 60s or earlier.
Oh, so this was politics / within the Serpent's Grasp.
Yes, yeah, we
Yeah.
get.
See you later,
I
David.
think
I'm
we
rehearsing
get-
for our next trivia.
we get Children of the Gods, Politics, The Curse, Entity.
Wait, I want to play the game. I want to play the game. I want to play the game. Don't do it. I want to
Okay.
play the game.
I think she wants to play the game.
Does she want to play the game, David?
I was trying to cut off Phoebe
no.
because I was hearing her say things and I'm like, blah, 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 blah.
Jeez.
I was trying to be like
It's kind
louder
of
in my
a
my own head.
compilation of SG1's most controversial moments.
Yeah.
That's it.
basically.
Yeah.
They used that shot as well in that of the thing coming down in Heroes, of them like filming it and then the blast doors closing.
Oh, that was a reuse?
This is
Good for you.
upgrades. Yeah. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ha.
Both said the same thing. Snap. I love upgrades. It's a good time.
Me too. That is a good time.
That's a lot of
So long
springboards.
ago.
Makes me hungry
So
for
long
steak.
ago.
3 with baked potatoes and a diet soda.
And what are they having?
The
That's just
same
for
thing.
me.
That was just for me.
Dan Ben said originally The Lost City was supposed to be a cinema release. I would have
Yes.
loved that.
Yes, the original idea for the Stargate feature film was what turned into Lost City.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Which one's this one? Ah, In Line of Duty. Cool. Oh,
Entity.
Oh, yeah, Entity.
So he
Yeah.
actually said 2 years ago, but it was actually 3 years ago because it was
Yeah.
season 4.
But this is like middle of season 7, so it's 2.5. You could make the argument.
Chibi Me said we all know why they like upgrades. Look, Sam and Jack just sitting here.
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
Wink,
"Big deal. There's a big deal. Wink,
Well, that footage was saved for Divide and Conquer,
For
but yes.
Divide and Conquer, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's actually a
But that's
shot
the moment
that's
it happened.
inserted into that show that was not in the original episode.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, here we go. Meridian.
Yeah. How many episodes are used in this
Is it
episode?
17 or
17?
15?
I think I said 17.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
17
30 clips?
different clips from it's 16 different episodes.
16 different episodes, 17 clips? Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Which one's the twofer? I guess we'll find out.
I think it might have been
Yeah. Damn
That
right
one,
he did.
yeah.
We don't come for teal.
yeah, it was. What am I trying to say?
Yeah, that would have looked bad.
The reference to the other clip show. I think
okay.
that's what's in there twice.
Enemies. Fun
It's
episode.
quite the balls to take a clip from the clip show.
I know. Someone called it Clipception.
It's like Evie drew the picture with all the clips set.
That's right. That's right,
Enemies is
Maynard.
a damn good episode.
It is a good show.
Oh, Chibi Me said throwing us off from a niece. That's the reason that most people liked it, but Evie and I were force field Sam and Jack. But yes, a niece. Sorry, yes. I forget that other people exist.
Lockwatcher
That's
for
why I called
X-Men.
my.
Go ahead.
Yep. Sorry, you go.
The replica from the president's desk in the Oval Office was so detailed it took them 2 months to build for X2. Thank you, Lockwatcher.
Damn. I love
Oh
X2.
wow.
Yeah, the Resolute desk.
This is the fifth race. You've taken your first step towards becoming the fifth race.
Yes, yes. I think we're going to be all right. One of the greatest lines in all of sci-fi.
Yeah. I really
And that
like
shot appears in the very next episode.
Yeah, it does. So I want to remind everyone that with Lost City, I actually had never seen this episode or the fifth
Yeah.
race. So I was like, what the hell is
Yeah.
Ancient Repository? What is this?
Yeah,
So-
exactly. So this
I
is
really-
inserted very deliberately because we're about to see it again. So
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I hadn't even seen this recap before, so I was like, what's going on with the show? I went from season 4 to the season 7 finale, and I don't know what happened between.
The way you watch it actually makes me like uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know. It makes me uncomfortable. It's terrible. Because, I love him. Henry Hayes gets it, man. He just gets it.
Mhm.
He does.
See, I want a president like this guy.
You'd vote Republican?
He's Republican?
Of course he's Republican. Kenzie's his running mate.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Hello? McFly?
I want to knock on Nicole's skull, like
Right? Anybody home?
Oh, no. Oops.
Yeah.
You know what? Just taking that out of it, I just want this kind of personality.
There you go.
This good vibe.
Yep.
Let's go with that.
Well, he's willing to hear everybody from all angles.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's a good egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, we aren't there. Walk a mile in their shoes and then
That's
you'll
the
get
thing. That's the whole conversation in this episode
Yeah.
that they're trying to establish is that we've not lived their lives. We've not had their experiences. We're reading the report that gets filed after
Exactly.
and watching some clips in third
Hindsight
person.
is
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. It's just hindsight.
it. Let's take a break. Nicole doesn't get to Karen trying to remember episode names off the top of her head. Look, Kinsey's panicking now.
getting angry.
He's thinking, yeah.
He's like, how do I
Yeah.
win this?
Sniveling weasel.
Yeah, he really is a weasel.
But so good. I mean,
Well,
Ronnie's
I
just
actually.
fantastic. He turned me
Oh,
down. I
yeah.
asked to, I sent him a request to interview him, and I threw some money at him about 6 months ago, and he said no. And it's like, well, you know
Oh,
what? I
oh,
interviewed
that's
him. I
fine.
interviewed him, 20 years ago. So we've got them. We've got the stories.
Still on the archive,
That's it. It's a part
yeah.
of the archive.
So I actually love that Hayes repeatedly calls him Bob
That's
instead
it.
of
Yeah.
Robert.
Yeah.
And I think in my mind, it's sort of his way of putting Kinsey back in his place by
Yep.
using
Yeah.
like an informal shortening of his name. It's almost
Yeah.
like a parental figure addressing a child. And I think it
Yeah.
really, I guess, reestablishes the
That's
hierarchy.
correct.
And I think
He
it's
didn't
also
win. He got
worth
absorbed into this presidency because
Yep.
he
exactly.
obviously pulled out of like terminated his ticket. So
Yes.
Yep.
And I think it's also worth noting that Hayes doesn't really show any real signs of being overwhelmed by the Stargate revelation. Like, I think he knows that showing outward signs of being rattled would be a sign of weakness that Kinsey
Yep.
would just absolutely pounce on.
Yeah. 100%.
well, Kinsey is a known quantity to Hayes to a certain degree. Only when he gets a certain 3.5-inch floppy disk later on in blue.
Jean Diata asked David,
Yep.
have you gotten Devane yet or tried?
I've been refused twice.
Ah, what a shame.
Yeah, he's
All
he's too
right.
big. He's way too big.
Yeah.
So he's a freaking colonial pin guy, man. So, but yeah, definitely tried.
Oh, I want to sight unseen this episode.
Ha!
Oh, it's
Look at
still
that
lame.
dated
That
headset.
No, I hate
Oh, I
seeing it. It makes me
know.
cringe so much.
Uh,
Oh God. See, this is the only bad part of the episode is seeing this again. Oh.
Mr. President, you probably have one crawling on your desk right now.
yeah, you could do.
Raj Luther said, I would vote for Hayes. Not all US Republicans are bad. I agree. I would vote for Hayes.
I
He's a
think
good
all
guy.
politicians suck. Thank you very much.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Join the
just-
lesser of
Libertarian
many
Party,
evils.
folks.
Worse.
We hate everybody.
Oh.
It's starting to
Avenger
get tired.
2.0. That's a fun episode.
Mm-hmm. I love you've got Maynard hitting back in here. Well, let's provide the context that's been left out
Yeah.
by this guy.
He's seething. He also has amazing teeth.
I know, right? He is a handsome man. Great
Oh, yeah.
jawline.
Woolsey is a human calculator, and
Yeah, yeah.
there is nothing wrong
Mm.
with that as long
Nope.
as he has someone as his counterpoint to reinforce the reasons behind certain things. Oh, good
Yeah.
episode. A reaction of chains.
This is chain reaction, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because this is one where they're like, oh yeah, it's a close call. And then it's just like, oh yeah, that's the reason I lost my job. It's like, pff,
Yep.
bull, Kinsey sucks.
Yes.
Did they bring that up that Kinsey's responsible for that? No, they can't because
Yes.
it's on the
Yeah.
it's on the floppy disk.
The floppy.
That comes out in
The
between these
floppy.
episodes. Good old floppy.
The line between this episode is a floppy disk.
Right?
God, it just seems so long ago.
I know, I miss it. Mm.
Oh,
Oh, here
Kinsey's
we
just
go.
loving himself, right?
Here we go. Oops.
Oh, poor Daniel. It's not a pattern. It's not a pattern.
Mm-hmm. If you go back and you watch Heroes, and I missed it in our Heroes walkthrough, but when Bregman and Daniel are walking through the corridors and Bregman is reading his mission file, you can
Yeah.
actually see Shanks's 16:9 headshot opposite of the document
Brilliant.
while they're walking through the
Yeah.
corridor. And I
Yeah.
meant to bring that up then. It appears like something like that, something similar like that was in Picardo's hands just a moment ago. Not the same photograph, but maybe the Michael Shanks season 1 publicity photo.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I missed it. I'd have to go back and look
Oh,
at
here we go.
it.
Here we go. Here we go. Yes. See, Kinsey's like pushing that really hard, and
Yep.
Woolsey is kind of reacting a bit like,
He's going to go for any angle that he can.
It's almost
Yeah.
like Woolsey's a bit uncomfortable about it. Like he doesn't quite like the push for this is a bit, wrong.
Well, I think they even say that, there's not an awful lot of evidence because some of it's probably been withheld from their mission reports.
Yeah.
It's just because this is
which
coming from a
episode?
third party.
This one? Oh, come on.
Hold on. Just tell me the first letter. Tell me the first letter.
P.
Oh my god. Hold on.
And then
Hold
an
on. Second.
L.
Come on, you can do it.
I can do it. I can do it.
The second word is an L.
Paradise Lost.
There you go.
Yes. Yes, even I knew that one.
Sometimes it takes. Well, can you have a list next
I
year?
was
I want that noted.
surprised. No, I literally don't.
Okay. It takes me a second sometimes. Sometimes I need like a couple letters and then my brain fills in the blanks.
These are human beings, not robots that we're sending to other planets. You put them in the line of fire, they will build relationships. They will feel like family.
You want them to build relationships. You
Yeah.
want them to be a cohesive team.
Yeah. They have to finish each other's thoughts.
Yeah, and they've literally died together and
Literally
lived
died together,
and
that's
fought
right.
together. Yeah. Also, so this scotch that Kinsey is about to drink is actually iced tea, according to the DVD commentary. So it's sort of more of a sort of a practical thing because
sure.
they would have to do multiple takes.
Yeah, he's an older guy.
In
Give
the
him some
Vampire
drink.
Diaries, they were always drinking quote unquote bourbon, and it was always iced tea.
Yep.
For the entire show.
Yep.
8 seasons.
Get
of
your
just iced tea.
antioxidants.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. Here we go. Woolsey's overplaying his hand. He thinks that, well, not Woolsey, Kinsey is overplaying his hand. He thinks that Woolsey is like him, and he's about to find out differently.
Yep.
One of
Yep,
Kinsey's
he's,
few major mistakes.
underestimated.
Yeah.
Underestimated him.
Yeah. I've got folks in my back pocket that they're just going to handle this one way or the other.
Yeah.
Things happen. Oh, I wrote it.
You see, that is so dangerous. That is so scary. And what I love here is that Wolsey's like, that's really disgusting. Like, it goes to show that despite all the little missteps that we see with Wolsey, or like moments where we don't trust him, this moment here is so vital. So I never saw this prior to seeing him appear in like season 9 and then in a bit of Atlantis. So I was always like, this weasel man, But going back to Inauguration, I was like, damn, you know what? He's a good guy.
He actually has a pretty rich backstory.
Yeah.
I like the character arc.
Yeah.
One of the greatest in the show, next to Tommy
Yeah,
Beth
it really is.
and a small handful of others.
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
On the surface, it makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
They've a black hole almost swallowed us up.
Yeah. Like, if we found out the Stargate program was real, I think I would be quite pissed. I'd be like, that's really cool that we've figured that out. But that is like, how dare you mess with my life like that?
And how many times have we avoided the brink of annihilation or destruction?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing down there with my life?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Gianni said,
They're
"Now you
both
can
so
drink the
defensive.
bourbon from the two actors from the Vampire Diaries." Yes, our brother's bourbon. I will be getting it at some point.
Well, they removed the coffee table, which they often do during press events.
Yep. Damn right. We're plucky. We refuse
are.
to go down.
Plucky is the word.
Yeah.
It's a good word.
The Gould would have succeeded if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
Yep. They've got moxie. Those kids have got
Moxie. There we go.
Gumption.
Gumption.
Every word possible.
Yes.
Oh, failsafe is the asteroid episode.
That's it.
Crushed it. So, David, I'm proving a point now that I can do it, so that when the trivia press gets to me on the day that we do it, I want
know
it
you
proven that I
can,
knew
Nick.
the answers.
I never doubted you.
Thank you. And this is full circle.
Down, girl. Ooh,
I love it.
Very good. Those
I love
ships
this
can
episode.
dock along those pylons on the outer rim there.
So cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
They
It's
didn't
very
use that
cool
ship
design.
nearly enough.
No.
No, they had to save
And I
money.
can imagine it was expensive
Yep.
to show, so.
Yep. I have someone working on a fan version right now for our opening title sequence. Probably not going to be done this season on Dial the Gate, but at some point.
Oh, that would be so
And
technically
the Hasara
crazy.
system space station. So
Ooh.
give me that.
Evolution.
Which part?
Oh, yeah, probably one.
Yeah.
Eh.
We just saw this.
We did.
Is it part 2?
No, it's part 1.
I don't know.
Oh, okay, it's part 1. He went, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah. They're trying to grab him.
Achievement said, indeed, Wolsey does want the best for all situations. That's why he does numbers. Sadly, you get people like Kinsey that would try to make the numbers say what he wants it to say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As any statistician will tell you, you can make numbers say whatever you want them to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be
Well, yeah,
easily manipulated.
there are so many situations in which people just pull certain numbers out of like a big group.
It's
of
all
numbers.
context. It's all
Yeah,
context.
and take the context away.
Here we go. We're teeing up the next episode.
Damn right.
A third in 2 days.
No, he's doing
That's
a very
pretty
good job.
quick.
Yeah.
Skim reading is skim reading.
Skimming. He's skimming.
Yeah, he's speed reading.
He's got the upgrades armband that helps him read the whole thing in one go.
Yeah, that would really help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maternal instinct.
I forgot how much this episode tees up Lost City. It really does.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good job.
Yep. That is a hard visual effect to achieve.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I think that the ascended being visual effect is honestly so hard.
I'd love to see what they would do with it now. I imagine
Yeah.
it would look really sharp.
Mm.
Oh, by the way, yeah, we have proof of heaven. There you go.
Yeah, but like
It's
you
so
can only get
political,
there
it's
if
not
you
even
do a
funny.
certain,
Yeah.
do a certain thing.
Yeah.
So soz guys, none of
Yeah.
you guys are making it into this version of it.
Or like McKay, just lay down and be really still and peaceful, and maybe you can ascend.
Yeah, and then
With
work
the
real hard towards it.
ascendometer.
Oh yeah, I
hated
almost
that.
made
I
that my
hated
drawing.
that.
To be fair,
I
hated
almost
that
made
too.
that my
Yeah.
drawing
I
for
think
this
you've
week.
done it, haven't you? Haven't we
No.
done that
No,
one?
I don't
think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Ha!
Yeah.
One more time.
I like that they're acting like finding Atlantis is going to save them from Anubis. It's like, how do they know it's going to happen, you know?
They're just grasping onto whatever they can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's the MacGuffin. We are in the MacGuffin years of Stargate at this point, so.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I can't wait for the next episode where it goes, I got enough on you to get you shot.
Shot. That's right.
Yes.
We'll have you shot. It's great. Hmm.
At least he's willing to view all the angles.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's important.
Angle viewing is important.
Especially for politicians.
Mm. As everyone has. Yep.
Nope.
Yeah.
Fair. Do your best.
Yeah, you got to represent the people. Pentagon. I have been there.
Okay, so that's cool. So I think we only see the Pentagon like a handful of times in the series.
Yeah,
I think the
SGU
other
is
times
more.
were desperate measures and disclosure.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think this particular moment here, this marks what Joseph Malozzi calls the first step in the rehabilitation of Wolsey's
Yep.
character. So he shows like surprising strength by turning his back on Kinsey and doing the right thing.
Damn
so
right.
Malozzi later said Wolsey became one of his favorite characters to write for. So this moment was, very important to his arc.
Mm.
He's not a bad guy.
No.
He's
No,
just,
he's not.
He's just,
Just doing the best he
he's
can.
principled.
I suspect that based on what Carter was saying to Hammond, he wasn't always. I would suspect either he had his ass handed to him at one of his previous positions. I forget what the circumstances was. Or someone had him silenced because he was so principled, which may be the case, that they pushed him out and wrote something in his record to make it look otherwise, which may be the case.
Yeah.
He may just be so sharpened that he's pushed people over whom, didn't like it in the past, and now this is why he's meeting in dark rooms in the dead of night.
Yeah,
He doesn't
I
want it
think
to
he's
happen
always
again.
been. I like to think that he's always been
principled?
very principled.
Yeah.
Well,
And
dogs like him, so,
he-
there you go.
yeah.
That's a big deal.
And he just aligned himself with the wrong kinds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
that's it.
they wanted to, sink him for whatever
Well, he was
reason.
hired by Kinsey to do a job, and he was doing the
Yeah.
job, and then Kinsey showed too many of his cards, and it's like, whoa, yeah. And here's our one SGC shot with Don.
I love this.
Yeah, he invites him in. All right, let's talk. I'm not crazy about you, but we'll talk.
Mm. Yep.
It just shows what, like,
Mm.
both of these men are very,
Good
very
men.
principled, and
Yeah.
they're good men. They're willing to hear the other's argument, which I think is really cool, and it just shows what decent people they are.
Smoke and mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
What are you not telling me, General?
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about having pizza in the chat, I think, because Logwatcher's been told it's pizza night. I'm jealous.
Extra onion. Ew.
Yeah, ew.
I don't want to hear crunches when I eat my pizza.
No, it has to be cooked properly. Ugh.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened.
Oh, see, would you have thought in the last, in Heroes, that we would get to this point where Hammond would kind of, in a roundabout way, trust him enough to hand over this information that he's been holding for like seasons?
Yeah. Well, I
I
feel like Wolsey took such a risk coming down here and doing this. I feel like
Yeah.
there's a level of it that he was just,
Kinsey could have sent him,
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, that's a good point, but he does take the chance to kind of trust him to a certain extent, because he doesn't know who else he can give this information to, and it's kind of come to the point where it's kind of critical that it's handed over.
Yeah, and he's not handing over the only copy.
Well, that's what he says, yeah.
Chibi Me said, sometimes one of the best scenes are simply two forces talking, basically how a swan swims. It seems boring and smooth on top, but below it's a battle of minds. Well, that's why Battlestar Galactica is one of my favorite shows, because there are so many fantastic scenes of just people in a room talking, and it's some of the most impactful and emotional stuff you'll ever experience.
There we go.
Boom.
Yeah, I just really like this sort of long-term storytelling payoff.
Yeah.
Because like Chain Reaction was seasons ago, and I forgot about the disc.
3 seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
I figured this would come into play again at some point.
Yeah.
It's even the same
really makes
disc.
sense. Yeah.
So
I just really love how they were able to build on this storyline over so many years.
Yeah.
Because the series ran for so long,
Yep.
and they were able to do that. It's just what's missing from TV
because we
today.
watched.
Yeah.
That's why he went to you.
Yep, that's his like sigh of defeat. He's like,
And he just
okay,
does he always just have it
fine,
there?
I'll take a chance.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it makes
got it there
sense for
on
him
the
to have
top
it in his
shelf the
desk.
entire time.
I do find it a bit strange that it's exactly there. I
Well,
would have
if
liked
he
to do it
ever
across the
ends
room.
up dead,
Yeah.
it would be the first thing you would want someone to find.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised it's on top.
Yeah. I feel like he'd have like an automatic message go out to like Jack when in the event of
Like
his
a
death,
dead man
being
switch?
Like,
Yeah.
Get rid of this.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So there's a Patrick Stewart HBO or Showtime film that's specifically that. I forget what it's called. But there's a politician who orders him dead, and immediately the information goes out. Here we go. And it's just left open-ended until Lost City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I love is it's a great ending.
Well, it's not like we have to wait for too long.
That's exactly right.
Very next episode.
No.
And for the profit of the Earth, but only after they had their slice.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Lock Watcher, anchovies on pizza, never going to happen. He's quoting, hey,
Yeah.
it's to Weir.
Yeah. To Anubis in the next one. Yeah.
I wonder if he was doing that on purpose, or if the script omitted the Stargate.
Yeah, I did wonder.
I don't know. Yeah, I
I found
wondered
it strange,
that too.
like, instead of Stargate, with like the Stargate. Because like we talk about Stargate as the show, we never say the Stargate.
Right,
Like, that's
exactly.
in the context
Yeah,
of the show.
true.
Yeah, it's weird.
And someone always insists on spelling it differently. Nicole.
Yes.
I can't. What do you mean? What?
You've
what?
never noticed.
You do a capital G.
Oh, I change it all the time. I know. I
Yeah.
have noticed. I do it a lot. Yeah, I do notice.
Yeah, that was some of the non-standard feature film spellings.
Yeah.
So.
I actually used to type it like that because I liked capitalizing it, and then I think it just kind of stuck
I
to
see.
what my phone does, or sometimes autocorrect. So I
Oh,
force it out.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not you. Okay.
No, not always. Sometimes I do it by accident. Sometimes it's just there.
This
But
is a
I
great
learned it from
ending.
her.
Whose version
It
of
is.
history? It's like we're completely leaving it open-ended. And it's one of the last bombshells in Lost City. Which is
So,
a great tie-up.
It is. So Joseph Malozzi praised the performances of Robert Picardo, Ronnie Cox, and William Devane. And he said that William had the production office staff all aflutter when he took time to autograph pictures between scenes. So kind of sounds like he was quite the gentleman on set. And Reddit fans were also sort of sharing the same sentiment, with many saying that they loved William Devane as President Hayes and
Oh,
wish
he's amazing.
that they'd seen more of him. So
Yeah.
I think this episode really does show how far clip shows have evolved from the early days of television.
Yeah.
It actually has a plot.
I
Dan
think
Ben,
Stargate's
some
one of the only
people-
shows that can do it.
Ben, some people say the show is called Stargate 1. It technically is.
It technically is, yes.
Yeah. If you go back to
My
Hank
stepdad
Cohen.
told me, no, stepdad, my granddad told me that when I was a kid.
That was Inauguration. Thanks so much for joining us.